was the General Manager of Gloucestershire Council, is that right?
Gloucester.
Gloucestershire Council, got that wrong. And that's from the Upper Hunter regions of New South Wales. What year did you retire, Allan?
23rd of March 2012.
2012, remember that exact date?
I do indeed, because it was a sign-off date that was indelible there in the rest of my life.
Yeah. Allan, do you mind giving us a bit of a brief history of your career, like how you got into local government to start with?
Yes, I walked straight out of school and straight into local government in New South Wales, and started with an Electricity County Council, which electricity authorities were local governments in New South Wales. Moved across to Inverell Shire Council, then moved up to Crows Nest Shire Council just north of Toowoomba, and then out to Balonne Shire Council at St George, and then down to Gloucester.
And what sort of positions? Like, what was your first position at council?
I started off as the junior clerk. Worked your way up as cashier, and and then.
So you would have been through a number of different departments within council.
Definitely, it was there when computers were introduced into local government. So right from the start, computers were as big as this room.
And what was your last role at the council? I think I mentioned that before, the general manager. Do you want to talk a bit about?
I was the general manager at Gloucestershire. Prior to that, I was the CEO at Balonne. So had the top roles there at both councils, and loved every minute of it.
Yeah. What do you enjoy doing now? Now that you're retired, what do you love doing?
There's never enough hours in the day. It's always been said when you retire, you've never got time to do everything. I go to the gym. I'm not there to build a body. I'm there to exercise and make sure my body's active. That's virtually a daily routine. I play golf. Now we've moved to a resort lifestyle, and I'm learning to play lawn bowls, something I said I'd never do, but I'm now doing it. So and just enjoying life. We've got grandchildren that we visit and they visit us.
And is there anything that you miss about your job or local government?
I do not miss the political side of local government, but I miss the professional interaction with my peers. That's something that took me a long time to get over.
What about role models? Was there any role models along your career that really you took advice from and looked up to?
There are. I don't want to embarrass by naming some and leaving others out, but certainly Paul Henry at Inverell Shire Council, well known in New South Wales. He certainly guided me along the way. I was a late bloomer. At 40 years of age, I decided that suddenly to get anywhere in local government, I probably needed a degree, and Paul encouraged me to do that. So I ended up with a Bachelor of Business degree, specialising in local government and legal studies. And then
I asked, did you do that part-time whilst you were working at council?
I sure did. I did that part-time working at council and raising two very active boys as well.
Very full-on schedule.
Yes. Wait till the boys go to bed, go down to the shed, study late at night. But in the end, it was 6 years of well worth it.
Well worth it in the end. What changes did you observe in your time? So whether that be regulatory, political, sort of the years that you were at council. So what was the total span of your years?
42 years. Started in local government, ended in local government. What was the change? I think the best changes that I noticed was when I moved to Queensland in 1996. The new Local Government Act was just starting to take hold. I think it was enacted in 93 and came into play sometime in 94. People were still coming to terms with it, but it was a new horizon. And I said when I first came here, I came out of New South Wales, which I thought was relatively modern, to a place that I thought may have been archaic. The new Local Government Act changed all that, and it changed it for the better. And when I went back to New South Wales, I found that in Queensland, we're a lot further ahead. New South Wales had not advanced. It hadn't, and that was the thing. I went, "You got to be kidding me!" And then there were other things like I'd never done town planning. When I went to Crows Nest, the Director of Corporate Services, small country council, Director of Corporate Service was the town planner with assistance from people outside. So I had to learn town planning, and then the Integrated Planning Act in 97 came up, so that was all new for everybody. So it was a great learning curve, but loved every minute of it.
Highlights. Are any stories that are really stick in your mind? Some highlights.
Yeah, probably not, because everything I've never you always say that you've had bad times and good times, but when you look back at it, I haven't had a bad time. Everything's been
good times outweigh the
bad. And also, well, the highlight would be getting my degree, graduating, which opened the door because I'd had experience in what I was doing. I'd been on hospital boards, I'd been on childcare centre committees, school councils, and I'd had that experience, but I didn't have the qualifications. Once I got the degree, it opened the doors, and people could see that I had...
For those higher level roles.
I was capable of doing those high level roles, even though I'd turned 46 by the time I graduated. And so, that was a highlight, graduating. Then when I got my graduate diploma in management, that was another highlight. And again, it opened more doors. I'm sure that helped me get the job at St George.
Right, okay. Lowlights, or what's the worst thing about a local government career?
You have to deal with difficult people. That's probably, but you have to deal with difficult elected representatives too. Very difficult people, and you've got to find a way of working with them. And sometimes you just don't get that, and you've got to be very serious and definite with some people, and that didn't help me on a couple of occasions. But overall, I think it still set the tone for where I was going, that people knew what I was going to be like, how I was going to react, and how I was going to get the job done.
As a CEO or general manager, what worked for you?
Well, what worked for me was having a staff that was capable and encouraging staff to come on board, because the only way you can be successful is to have successful staff. And I found that worked. I would always go around, I would start work early, and then when the staff would come to work, I would then go around the desk and talk to them all. And would not go back to my office until 10 o'clock in the morning, and I found out about their families, their family lives, how things was working for them. And I encouraged them to tell me, and they appreciated that. And my secretary or my executive assistant used to always be a bit touchy when she'd say, "You're not just coming to work at 10 o'clock." I go, no, Leanne, I've been here for a while, yes.
So it sounds like you're a really approachable leader then.
Yeah, tried to be and always wanted to be, and was always out there, to say, I'm here to help, because if I can help you, you can help me. And if I'd always like to delegate, because I found that sometimes I'd go away to conferences and you'd find General Manager, CEO always on the phone, and I'd say, my phone's back in the room, and they'd say, why is that? I said, well, if I can't come to the conference and the show run itself back home, I shouldn't be here. And I'm only away for 3 to 4 days. The world's not going to end. And whatever problems that occur, we'll get a band-aid fix if they can't fix it properly, and we'll sort it out when I get back.
What did you have to change about yourself or your approach or leadership approach along the way?
I had to. When you start out as a junior, you know everything, but you don't know anything, and you've got to learn to listen. You've got to learn. The greatest thing that I believe I learnt was to be tolerant. Understand that some people are going to be a pain in the backside, but you've just got to accept that, roll with the punches, and get on with life. And
it's really good advice.
Yeah, and that's what I have always done. Okay, you've tried to upset me, and you've probably succeeded, but guess what? I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
What was the most difficult part of your role?
I had to terminating employment. I never was involved in amalgamations, which
that happened afterwards.
No, I was still here when it happened. In 2007. But I was at Boulogne Shire at St George, and we missed out. I guess they couldn't find where to put a 30,000 square kilometre shire with somebody else. Otherwise, they were creating something as big as Tasmania. So just terminating employment in unfortunate circumstances. People just weren't doing their jobs, and you had to manage them out of the organisation. That in itself was very difficult, because you knew it was going to cause heartache and hardship, but in the end it was for the better for the council and for the individual.
local government has changed over the years?
Yes, and technology in all aspects of local government has changed local government. There's modern thinking, and we're getting through CEOs, general managers, directors that are prepared to accept change. When I first started in local government, it was always, oh, that's the way we did it and that's the way we'll always do it. And that did get me into trouble sometimes. I know when the amalgamation discussions were coming up, I was prepared to even allow a suggestion that the Lon Shire Council could be split and go 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And the Mayor of Miles at a meeting said to me, he said, well, son, if that's the way you think, we're out of here. He was, and I still remember that to this day, yet the facilitator was quite surprised that I was prepared to accept that.
Yeah.
But I had the attitude was that if it meant that I lost my job, I wasn't worried because I knew I was employable.
Yeah.
And I was quite confident about that. Yeah.
What else did you love about a local government career?
I like talking to people like I'm doing now and being with people. And so I guess that's it. Ian O'Donnell at Crowsnest Shire Council gave me a wonderful piece of advice once. When I first moved there as Director of Corporate Services, he said, Allan, people don't come here to tell you you're doing a good job. They come here to tell you they've got a problem and they want you to solve it. And that's how I have addressed local government ever since. So that was a wonderful piece of advice.
Yeah.
And that in itself has helped me right through ever since.
Yeah.
So.
And what about the differences between the different councils you worked for?
Yeah.
I would imagine like Boulogne is such a large council.
Yeah.
So many road networks.
It is, and it's probably, and St George is an oasis in a very arid region, and it's an oasis because of the irrigation and the cotton. And it's reasonably well off, yet it isn't well off. It's a high maintenance council. We often used to say there's some councils in the city that are 30 square kilometres. You can go around it in your morning walk, and you nearly know every pothole by name. But out there, when you've got 30,000 square kilometres, roads get graded once a year, possibly once every 2 years. You are fortunate out there that the cotton growers all have their own big graders for levelling, and you can contract them. We used to contract Cubby Station to maintain roads down at Durham-Bandy. It was, and that was a unique and different experience. There'd be very few councils that are in a position to be able to do that. And the tyranny of distance. I mean, not only is it a big shire, but it's 6 hours from Brisbane. We used to jump in the car at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, get to Brisbane 6 hours later to have a 20-minute meeting with the minister and drive home. People don't understand. I don't know that they don't appreciate it. They just don't understand that that's what you do. So.
What about like to those looking at having a local government career? I didn't work for local government before this. I worked for in the commercial world, and I know you think, coming into local government, everything's so slow. It takes so long to get anything to happen. What's your comment in relation to that then?
I can't comment because I've known nothing but local government, but I loved it. I just loved local government.
But there's obviously a process that local government has to follow to get to decisions.
Exactly. And I explain that to people on the outside world today. I say, hang on a minute, just the world moves, it's moving faster, but it's not as fast as you want it. But there is a process, and this is how, when you explain it to people, they start to understand, and they're then not as critical, or they're reluctant to be as critical, especially to me anyway.
Because the process is there for a reason.
Exactly.
To make sure we get decisions right, to make sure things are fair.
You do want to get it right. That's the thing, and yet you don't want to be in that situation where it was once said, when in doubt, form a committee, and a committee can hardly ever get a decision. Sometimes you've got to make a decision, even if it's the wrong decision. A decision made at the wrong time is better than no decision at all. And then, like I say, you can then massage it to fix it. And the process is not as slow as it used to be, but you're right, it's slow for a reason. Because we have to be thorough, and it doesn't matter what you do. You're always, if you're too slow, you get criticised. If you get it right, you never get told that. I know it took a long time, but we got the right decision.
I've got one final question for you,
Yeah.
but I might video you doing that last question. But is there anything else that you want to talk about your local government career that I haven't captured today?
Probably not. What you haven't captured is the fact that I'm happy with what I've been involved in local government. It's it's a vibrant. I think it's vibrant, you establish a mountain of friendships, professional acquaintances, friendships that last forever. I've got local government colleagues and that still within the industry, and then those that have retired outside the industry, and you just I just
and you're contributing to the place that you
live
and love and your family lives.
And I sort of well up a bit because I'm proud, that
totally.
that of what I've done and what I've been able to help other people achieve. You know, my town planning experience at Crow's Nest was out of this world, because on the edge of Toowoomba, it just exploded in the couple of years after I got there, and I had to learn. I always said I was the best unqualified town planner in Queensland.
You had to learn under pressure quickly,
and that has stayed with me forever.
Okay.
So.
Look, this has been really interesting. Thank you very much for taking the time for this. I can see that you're really passionate about your local government.
I am. And well, I've known nothing else, but it's not disappointed me.
No, it's a great place to work.
Oh,
lots of opportunity for growth and learning.
If you want to do something, you can. And I always found there was someone there to help you. And that's why I've always tried to help other people. I've said to a couple of the people that have helped along the way, I can't promote you, because we're a small organisation. I can't promote you any further than what you are in this council. However, I can help you get better at what you do, and encourage you to go upwards at other councils and get your qualifications and your skill set. And that's.
And do you find that's what people need to do? They generally, with those smaller councils, in order to get that next step up, they do move around some of the other councils, take different
You've got to be enthusiastic about it. There are some people that it's like being join the army and you become a private and you never want to be anything else. There are some. There's some. You've got to want to, and you've got to want to advance, and you've got to be encouraged to advance. You seek out someone to help you, and someone will help you.
So I keep thinking of things as we're going along.
Yeah, you're fine.
Mentor. Did you have any were you a formal mentor for anyone along the way at all?
No. Well.
Or did you have a mentor yourself?
I've always looked on the people above me as mentors, all the way. Right from the day I started. There was always, the day I started as a junior clerk, the person that used to be the junior clerk was mentoring me in that position. They would mentor me, and then when the new junior clerk came through, I would help them along the way, and that worked all the way through. And I've always been in a council, even though the county council where I started was large, where the county clerk at the time was prepared to come down and do that same thing, move around, talk to people, even if it was just I saw your dad at bowls the other day, Alan, and that type of thing, and just kept walking. So I've always followed that line, that people have helped me, why can't I help people? And it's never turned against me. No. And I've always been community minded right from the start. I played, we started up the touch football competition in one town, and I was the treasurer or the secretary. And now touch football's gone on to be one of the greatest sports going. When my children were going to preschool, I got involved with the committee. I got appointed to a hospital board as a director. And down in New South Wales at Hunter Councils, you were a director on the Hunter Council organisation, and it's a booming industry, Hunter Councils. So there's always something you can learn, and you should be keen to do that.
Perfect. Well, thank you very